and not take any rights away of the human to live.
So what would you do if you got pregnant in an unwanted situation? Like,
please no more
Even
politics.
if the patriarchy is your body, your choice. Ending abortion will never end abortion. It will only end safe legal access to it. And I think if you ask any of the Republicans who are so loudly shouting pro-life, if they've ever forced a mistress to have an abortion, and I think it will be shockingly alarming how many they do. We are here to advocate for all uterus havers. There are many, many accesses for you to make sure that you are still.
I'm not getting, like, what is your proof? How can she say those? Does she have analytics or stats?
Capable to receive safe and legal abortion.
Tonight, history is unfolding across the United States.
The highest court in the land reversed course on 50 years of federal constitutional rights to an abortion, sending the issue to the states.
Hundreds, if not 1,000 protesters filled 2nd Avenue in downtown Seattle.
I actually was raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic school. My whole family is Christian now, but also my Christian family is pro-choice. I don't think you can bash the entire religion based off of it. There are a lot of pro-choice Christians out there that understand that while they may not personally feel a certain way, they can't tell other people how they can and can't feel. The thing is, if you're going to be debating with a Christian stance, that has to be separate from the government. You can't enforce or impose any sort of religious beliefs. It has to be separate from the state. I mean, that's how the Constitution was formed. Everybody can argue what they want, but that's the bottom line.
She's smart. This girl is like really smart, because at least she knows that religious matters, which is actually mainly the baseline for pro-choice, is actually should be separated from political decisions and should be separated from the state. Like, she's really smart. I was thinking that there would be a lot of crazy people here, like maybe like Antifa and stuff, but holy hell, we do have like a lot of smart people here too.
We have 80% of the population on this side. That's a lot of opportunity for change and hope for the future. Unfortunately, it's just in the wrong hands right now. These justices were appointed so long ago and will stay in power until they die. They were appointed at a different time and a different era where different things were considered acceptable, where they no longer are now, and it's no longer the voice of the people either.
History does repeat itself.
Damn, she's really smart. Holy shit, okay.
What are your thoughts on the Supreme Court?
They can go fuck themselves.
We just talked to some Christians across the street, and they think that the moment conception occurs, a life form has germinated. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that you can believe whatever you believe.
I love
the
this
second
term,
it infringes on my
germinated.
body, I don't give a fuck. But if you read other religions and stuff, like in Jewish law, it is required to abort a baby or a fetus if it jeopardizes the life of the mother. So you need to understand that Christianity isn't the end-all, say-all. There are a multitude of different religions, and we need to respect them all. I think it's infuriating that a dead body has more bodily autonomy than me. You cannot force anybody to donate anything in their body, even though it can save somebody's life. And you're forcing me to potentially jeopardize my health and my safety for something that I don't even want. That's not even considered a life, in my opinion, and the opinion of a multitude of people.
I think life begins whenever the baby is physically, like, you know, pushed out of the womb. If I was in a position to where I was pregnant, I would get an abortion. I think this is extremely unfair and just backwards. It honestly just makes me feel so many emotions: sad, disgusted, angry, and just disappointed. Women need to protect our bodies, so fuck the Supreme Court. As the world changes and evolves, so do people, and we can't just have the same people in office their entire life. It's just gonna end up being backwards. I think that we should at least, you know, have elections for it.
Dude, it's just fucking disappointing. Like,
that's actually a smart way to do it.
Like, trying to decide what to do with people.
That's actually a smart way to do it. If they're thinking that the newer generations nowadays, because you guys have to realize that the generations always change, basing on the current situation of the economy and how, you know, the standards are for the current, you know, for the current generation. Specifically, if you guys know, this majority of the people here are the younger individuals, like I would say early, like 20s or 30s. I have not seen like a boomer here yet. But the thing is, like, the reason why these older people are running like the Senate, or I mean the Supreme Court, is basically they're the ones who's the oldest and probably the wisest and most careered individuals. So if you do something like a voting, I think that would definitely work. At least the people can choose the representative that is on their, that they agree with, that they believe with. And since America is founded on democracy, I think that would be a great way to do it. But then again, I'm really starting to get curious on how they're going to be executing that though. Because there's a lot of it, because you guys have to realize, like, these people, majority of them are the protesters. I mean, the people who are here are mainly the protesters, and you guys have to realize that there is also like thousands and like millions of people who are the silent majority. And by the thing is, like, if those silent majority, or like we're say like against abortion, or like was pro-life, whatever, they would have a sway, and people will start saying that the system is rigged by the end of it. Is because, like, think of it as the Donald Trump and the versus Hillary thing. It was the silent majority that boosted Donald Trump up. Won't that scenario happen again if the what they call this, if this actually occurred? Like, won't that just be a repeat situation for the people in the Supreme Court, or will it be different now? I have no idea, because by the end of it, again, majority of the time, if it's democracy, it's the silent majority who always wins, and that is always going to be a thing. Because as loud as you can be, your people are not gonna be listening to shouting. People will instead listen to reason. And I'm assuming here that the majority of the people, especially in the States, are educated. So I don't know. I don't think if that's the solution, but I think that's a step to the right direction.
People's bodies, and like, that's fucked up. Like,
are you surprised?
Yeah.
No, fuck no. Why are we surprised nowadays? Like, our legal system just doesn't seem like it works.
They should not be able to be in the Supreme Court for an unlimited amount of time, and we should be able to have more of a say in who's running our country.
Aren't all other like levels like elected? So like, why wouldn't these folks be elected as well? I guess is what kind of where I'm thinking.
Some of these people are like 70, 80 years old. Boomer mentality.
Boomer
it's time
mentality.
for change.
Perhaps even beyond boomer.
Perhaps even beyond boomer.
I'm not sure what it's
fossils?
called to be 10 years above boomer. I think it might be called the greatest generation.
Fuck these old men.
Who's your least favorite old man?
Clarence Thomas.
Brett Kavanaugh. Fuck him.
It's my old friend Mads. I'll put a picture on the screen here of me and Mads 10 years ago in the studio, recording some rap music.
You
Mads
guys call
doesn't really
them
rap
dinosaurs?
anymore. He plays guitar.
I just called them fossils though. Oh my god. Okay.
Mads, what do you think about what's going on right now?
It's horrendous. It's like super sad. Feel terrible for my mom and all the women, and it's pretty scary what's happening to this country. And yeah, women should have complete control over their own bodies.
I agree.
The government should stay the fuck away. Yeah.
What do you think about the idea that immediately upon conception, an autonomous life exists inside of the womb?
I think it's ridiculous. It's like, to me, it's the same as like saying maybe my semen or a sperm or an egg is like a life.
No,
it
that's
is
different.
Eventually, but not immediately.
What do you think about the Supreme Court?
That's a different argument, because you're not saying that your gametes or your sperm cell or your egg cell is essentially life itself. It starts when both cells combine and replicate. That's the definition of life, or how life is conceptual. How life is concepted in the eyes of pro-life or pro-choice people who believe in that statement. That's how they think it. It does not mean that your single sperm cell is literally alive. Because if that's the thing, then if you're jacking off, you're basically committing genocide to millions of your skin. You know? If you're following his logic. But it doesn't work like that way too. Like, are you telling me if we follow your logic, a woman is basically killing her babies, her spawn, every month? So I think that his logic on this one doesn't really fare well. It's mainly because pro-choice people, people who are against abortion basically say like life starts when they, for example, like Andrew say here, germinate. I'm gonna use a different term. If when they replicate, when your gametes meet together and combine and they start replicating, that is where life starts, in the belief of people who disagree with abortion. So that's how we go. His argument on like sperm is like each individual sperm. No, that's way too much.
Like, yeah, I think that they don't work to serve the common people. The majority of Americans are actually for women's rights over their own bodies. It's representing political interest of the rich and powerful. We need to abolish the Supreme Court and destroy them. Destroy the institution, destroy capitalism. This entire U.S. government is built on genocide and slavery. And lies. They don't care about immigrants or helping poor people or orphans. So it's just a really convenient way to look like they care about people when they don't give a fuck about other people.
He's going crazy.
I appreciate it. Anything else you want to say, my guy?
Actually, I am.
It's going crazy. Like, Jesus Christ, American was built on slavery and what? I mean, I get that. It's part of the history, but like, it's built on genocide. What? Oh my God. Like, oh my God. Like, well, if they have Americans in chat, what do Americans think of that? I like, for me, as someone who is basically Asian, who's Asian, I kind of don't see that because what do the Americans think in my chat? Come on, drop it. Come on, let me see.
I'm a rapper still.
Still rap?
Still rap.
Okay.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Yo, I believe that we gotta give the choice back to the women, because you know they got a voice strapped. That's how we gotta be armed, ready to fight the government and the capitalists. We could do it in one night, make a new system that overthrows, make a revolution, let the people
do it in one night?
no
That's
foes.
no.
You know I do this for my bros. We do this for everybody from coast to coast. So put your fist up. I'm one of the illest to kill it, representing all of the children unborn. I represent for them, because women, they're the ones who decide. Yeah, peace and love to everybody. Let's ride.
Damn, Maz, you still rap, my guy.
Not gonna lie though, his rapping is really good. His rapping is really good though. You guys believe that he should shut the fuck up? But here's the thing though, the Americans have free speech, so he's entitled, for his opinions to be heard. So I think that's okay. But goddamn, he got bars though. He's crazy. And the best part of it, his rap, it's not mumbling like bujiga 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 bujiga. His rap actually has a story in it. It actually has a message into it. I agree. That's great. He's a talented guy.
I thought you retired the hip hop career.
His take is crazy, but yeah.
All right. You getting back into it?
Getting really into it.
Back in the day, me and Mads had a song called Crucial Polarity. I'm gonna play it over this song because I believe nobody owns the rights to it. Crucial Polarity, bringing the clarity. Solidarity, change coming through Seattle solidarity. My name is Mads, yeah, you probably heard of me. I wrote a song and my destiny occurred to me.
That's insane, you remember that.
I remember every one of your bars, man. So what brought you guys out here today specifically?
So we actually are invited to a church group in Kent area.
Okay.
We're going there to preach there tomorrow, and we wanted to come experience Seattle tonight.
But you guys are at the location of the Roe v. Wade protest right across the street. How do you guys feel about what happened?
I think it's good that they, outlawed it for sure.
We're glad for anything that would save lives.
I definitely think abortion is murder for sure.
Okay.
In what way?
Well, you're ending the life of a human. Once conception takes place, the Bible teaches us that, that God says, before I knew thee, I formed thee in the womb. And at that point, life begins. Biologically, it's true that life begins there. Yeah. I think the bottom line is this, is that people are trying to find a way to get around the consequences of their actions. And if you're having sexual intercourse, you should expect to potentially have a child.
I mean,
I'm not a
if you're using
Democrat, I'm not a
contraceptive.
Republican.
Can I ask you what you think about abortion?
I mean, there's no life.
Okay. So here's the thing, okay? When it comes to these type of arguments, like abortion is a very touchy subject, okay? Like, for example, let me give you guys an example. Abortion is banned in the Philippines. It's illegal in the Philippines because it's mainly It's mainly a Catholic country. Philippines is mainly a Catholic country. So with Mexico, it's mainly a Catholic country, whatever, etc. So you guys have to realize that the religious influence on how the country was started actually plays a lot in its social norms and its political status, okay? So, but on the other side, the States is a little bit more of a weird scenario because it started as a Christian country. And then after that, it started to become the country of immigrants, where people from different cultures, religions, and traditions and social cultures basically came in the country and slowly changed it from the inside out. So America is very diverse and it has a lot of culture in it. People would say opposite, that Americans have no culture, but it's just that it has so much practices and culture that it's actually very diverse and different because, again, it has its own several niche groups, okay? Now, the problem with these kind of arguments is that you guys have to realize that each and everybody has their own stance to it. And as long as you, for example, if you disagree with that person, it's still very nice to be very respectful to the person, you know? Because by the end of things, if you want to improve something, if you want to change something, you have to be civil, you have to be logical, you have to be, you know, you have to be smart about it. You shouldn't be getting your pitchforks and start stabbing another person, saying that if you believe that you're wrong and you should be alive. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be stating things that should be reinforcing a logical statement that on your belief in terms of future governance, which means that you should be looking for opinions that actually portrays to the future generation, or what the future is. Because of course, the past is always a great way to look at things. It's always a great lesson to strive to get from. But you have to realize that the past is the past. And what happens is the present is the way you mold the future from. So I do get it. I do get both stance of pro-life and pro-abortion, pro-life and pro-abortion. I do get their stances. But at this point, it just really does matter depending on where the majority believes. Like, for example, if you come from a Republican state and they outlaw abortion, then because majority of the people in that state believes in that statement, they believe that abortion is murder. If that's the case, then let them be. It's their life, man. It's their choice. But if you go to another state and they say they're pro-life or like whatever, sorry if I'm mixing the examples here. But if they believe that abortion is okay, then just go to that state. Live in another state. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter, because you have to realize that demographics is really plays into the picture here. Like, you could be rowdy outside the Supreme Court shouting this and that, but when it comes to it, it's always the silent majority that holds the vote or holds the control. And if you want to change the silent majority's opinion, you have to be logical about it. You don't have to be like violent about it. No looting, none of that stuff. You have to be composed. I would probably tell you, wear a suit and tie, go to a podium and talk normally and argue your points properly. Make campaigns that educate people instead of rioting and pitchforks and blood for the blood gods. I mean, it's great content, but by the end of it, you're gonna ruin other people's lives, man. And you're not really gonna be changing people's heads.
There's no life yet. There's no life. Like there's a beating little thing where it's a cell growing.
Are those green nail polish?
It's not had a life. It doesn't have a life. It doesn't know what a life is. It has no clue what a life is. You think, oh, it moves around.
This is what I mean.
Or blinks.
This is what I mean. Like, I get you. You don't believe his statement. You don't agree with him. You don't believe with him. But at least respect him as a person. Like, of course, go ahead and belittle his opinion, because again, you fight his opinion. But as a person, like, you probably say, I respectfully, instead of saying doing those stuff, you would probably say something like, be well spoken. Like, say, I respectfully disagree with that opinion because I don't believe that life is born when it's conceptualized. Life is born when it comes out. Like, something like that. Be well spoken. Because if you are like this, girl, I don't believe on no shit like that, girl. Like, you're not gonna sway that person, man. Trust me.
His eyes, or it sucks his thumb.
Unless you have a gun pointed on his head, that's a different story.
Okay, but are you gonna give more rights to that baby, that fetus? You're gonna give more rights to that fetus than you are to women, right?
My head hurts right now.
And then, all the children that are born, that end up in the orphanages.
I love how you know these stuff.
Oh yeah,
parents, I do.
That end up on the streets. That end up all sorts of problems.
I'm a PhD. Come on.
We're gonna have millions of these kids in the next 10 to 20 years. Okay, what are they gonna do about that? Nothing. They think that that's okay, but that's not okay, right? So I don't understand why they're just being so pig-headed and stupid. I think it's an agenda. It's just a coup. It's a coup. Supreme Court's in the middle of a coup. It shouldn't have the powers it has. You can't pass laws like that without asking the other two branches of government for, do you think this is cool? It's a balance of power that's not been used forever because it's been usurped. It's a coup. It's been going on since.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. My boyfriend knows.
Yes.
Okay, that's okay, sure.
So how do you guys feel about that
I respect his opinion
being overturned?
Or her opinion? I don't know.
God created all humans, and I believe we should leave it up to Him and not take any rights away of the human to live.
So what would you do if you got pregnant in an unwanted situation?
Please, no more politics. Okay, we'll finish this video then.
Feel
and after that's
like this is not a good situation. I would like to to make the situation as good as possible for the child.
Okay.
It can be good.
That makes sense. So at what point after conception do you believe that a sperm cell becomes sentient?
Immediately.
Okay.
Right away. I believe the human is started at conception. I believe once it's conceived, the baby has started.
For sure. But I mean, just imagine like something horrible happened to you, you got pregnant, and like you knew you were pregnant as a result of a bad situation. Like, how would you feel about bringing a kid into the world knowing that you didn't want it to be there? I mean,
well, obviously, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and I believe that God designed it for the woman to have a baby. And in this circumstance, we're talking about a woman that wasn't ready for it or didn't want it.
Okay.
But I still firmly believe that we should not kill the baby.
even if it was you?
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that does make sense. I understand his point. I think for those who don't know, this video is basically pertaining to the Supreme Court in America basically ruled that individual states can decide for their own if abortion is legal or not. TLDR, and that's it. And people are going ham about it. So I don't know. Basically, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter because TLDR, what matters the most is the demographics of the state. If the state is mainly, conservative, then of course they're gonna ban it. If they're quite progressive, then of course they're gonna allow it. So just move states, man. That's the only thing I could say. Just move states. It's really hard because you're gonna be like moving to another place, but you have to support things or support people that actually have the same opinions as you or idea as you. Because again, in a democracy, you want people elected to represent you. And I do believe that preventing or like voting in the Supreme Court probably would be a good first step, but I don't think that's gonna be the end all be all solution for it. Okay? So good video, boys. I love the fact that you guys are being civil in chat. So good video. Let's move on to the next one, boys.